At 29, Ethan's history is a record of stalled momentum, 2 jobs lost in quick succession, and a small business that collapsed before its first anniversary. He measured his progress using the distance metric, evaluating worth by comparing linear milestones against everyone else's. It assumes life moves at a consistent speed. As friends reached milestones he hadn't, the physical gap between their tracks became a quantifiable measure of inadequacy. When distance is the only variable that matters, a temporary stall in your career or personal life feels like a permanent failure of character. The breaking point arrived on a Monday morning with a 3-sentence rejection email. It was a standard automated response that ended his latest job prospect without offering a reason why. Ethan closed his laptop and walked outside. He didn't have a destination. He just needed to move through the cooling evening air as the sun began to dip toward the horizon. He looked down and saw his shadow stretched thin across the pavement. It looked like a dark, distorted version of himself that he couldn't outrun. Under the distance metric, your past errors follow you like this shadow, a constant, silent reminder of exactly how much ground you've lost. Ethan stopped walking. His shadow stopped too. He looked at it and whispered, "You never leave, do you?" It was a moment of total exhaustion, but it triggered a memory of something his father had said years before. His father had told him that a shadow isn't proof of being broken. It is a scientific certainty that there is a light source positioned somewhere behind you. That memory sent Ethan home to find his father's old notebook. On the first page, he found a different way to keep score: the resilience metric. This model ignores the total distance traveled and instead counts how many times a person is willing to begin again. Where the distance metric only looks at where you've been, the resilience metric evaluates your capacity for what comes next. The loop overtakes the timeline, turning the focus from the past to the act of restarting. In this framework, a mistake is no longer a dead end. It is the pivot point required to start the next cycle. Ethan sat at his laptop and began an audit. He didn't list what he had lost. He listed the specific skills he had inadvertently acquired through his failures. He realized his first failed business had actually functioned as a laboratory for learning how to manage customers and balance a ledger under stress. The second job he lost had been a high-pressure environment that taught him how to maintain focus when everything was going wrong. Even the repeated interview rejections forced him to refine his resume and sharpen how he communicated. These weren't just setbacks, they were the curriculum. You have to attend the classes of failure to gain the specific expertise required for long-term survival. The next morning, the fear was still there. Ethan felt just as uncertain as he had the day before, but he applied for 3 new positions anyway and offered to help a local shop with their social media marketing. For weeks, nothing changed. No one called him back, his bank account didn't grow. To the outside world, he looked exactly the same as he did during his previous failures. This is the true test of the resilience metric. It requires you to do the mundane work, even when the results aren't visible, because you no longer see a lack of immediate reward as a reason to stop. Over the next 3 years, the cycles began to produce results. The local shop work turned into a full-time role, which eventually led to a position managing a creative team. 2 years after that, Ethan launched a new company of his own. This venture was built using the literal debris of his previous attempts: customer service from his first failure and high-pressure discipline from his second. Sustainable success is often constructed from the practical lessons extracted from your own errors. One evening, Ethan walked home from his new office. The sun was low, his shadow stretching out beside him, just like years ago. He stopped and looked at the dark shape on the concrete. He quietly thanked it for being there during the nights he thought he wasn't good enough, and for being there every time he chose to get back up. Adopting this perspective didn't make his life perfect. He still deals with rejection, stress, and the occasional setback. He now understands that the shadow is a record of his persistence. It follows him as a reminder of every time he was willing to begin again.